Hey, my name is Sierra Driver, and this year me and my partner Miranda Murphy are doing a really cool research project. Our project is a unique project dealing with analyzing mouse QTLs using mouse genetics. We will be looking more in depth at the connection between genotype and phenotype of an organism. The main idea that we will be investigating is that the genotype of an organism strongly influences the phenotype of that organism. QTL stands for quantitative trait locus, which is a segment of DNA that is thought to be linked to a certain quantitative trait. Quantitative traits are traits impacted by many genes acting together. We will use QTLs to analyze traits, and in our case, the trait we will analyze will be a chronic disease not yet determined. Every Tuesday, we log on to the computer for an online class that begins promptly at 3:30 and lasts till 5 in the afternoon. Our teachers are Susan McClatchy and Gary Churchill from Jackson Laboratory. The setup for this class is we set our Mac laptops onto a desk and we video conference Sue McClatchy using a link to an online conference room, a conference number, and a participant code. After going to the link, we call the conference number using a phone, and then it will ask for the participant code, which we type in. And then we are able to hear Sue McClatchy, and this is how we hear her talk to us for the class. And any questions or comments we have, we are asked to type in the chat box. The agenda for class varies from day to day, but our first class we were privileged to be an audience to two young women's research that they did for Jackson Laboratory over the summer. One was on the role of IRX3 in gut-brain axis, and the other was on brown adipose tissue. We were allowed to ask them questions about their research and about their experience, and this was primarily to help us get a feel of what kind of research goes on and to help us gain confidence. Because if they can do it, then we can too. Another key component of this class is lectures from guest speakers. A frequent guest speaker is Gary Churchill. We can take notes and ask questions, and like an example of something that Gary has lectured us on is he's lectured us on the LOD score, which is the logarithm of odds score, which is a statistical estimate that you can use to determine whether two genes or a gene and a disease gene are near each other on a chromosome and therefore likely to be inherited. He has also walked through common graphs that we will see, and once we start analyzing our own data, we will have to put these to the use.
I don't want you to think that I simply sat down and typed this from top to bottom. In fact, you rarely ever type anything in R. You'll almost always be writing a script, which is just a text file. The GUI interface provides a simple text editor. I find it's actually quite a nice text editor. It doesn't do anything fancy, but it does all the things you expect it to. And what you'll typically do is take somebody else's script or copy little bits of R code from somebody else and cobble them together into a script. And then you'll, as I'll demonstrate in a moment, you'll run this script and errors will happen and things will go wrong and nothing will work, and then you'll go back and change things and you iterate and iterate until you get it right. I iterated several times and I hope I've got it right, but it will be instructive if there's an error along the way. I've already set my working directory with the pull-down menu, but here's how you could do it with the command. The next thing I want to do or need to do is load some libraries. I know that there's a special software package called QTL that I want to use, and there's another package that I want to use called ggplot. As I just told you, there's many ways to do everything in R, and there is a default graphics package that would be automatically loaded into my environment, and I'll use a little bit of it, but I really like ggplot, and I'm going to show you a little bit of it today. And if you get interested in ggplot, there's a nice little website. I've given you the URL so you can go look it up. One of the challenges that you might have loading the script is you'll find that ggplot is actually not on your computer. And if you need to load something on your computer, you can go to the package installer. I recommend this. It's the simplest way to install packages, and it'll work a little differently on the PC or the Mac, and I'm not going to demonstrate it. As I said, you rarely ever type anything directly into the R window. You type it into your script, and the way that I like to work is I will highlight the text, and you can't see, but I'm holding the Command key and hitting return. And I've loaded the QTL library with no problem, and I've loaded the ggplot library, and there's all this red stuff. Oh, how worried should I be? Well, if it says error, I should be really worried, but here it just says warning, and it's telling me that ggplot was built under a different version of R than the one I have installed on my computer, which is just a little way to say expect trouble. But I'm bold, on we go. Now we're going to get down to QTL mapping. The first thing I need to do is get my QTL data, and I have already created